Hi, it's Dave with the M2VA program at the VA hospital in Fayetteville, Arkansas. This is our first episode of Vet Talk. Today we have Laura Pogue with us with the Military to VA team. The Military to VA, or also known as M2VA, works with OEF and OAF combat veterans returning from Iraq, Afghanistan. So Laura, tell us about yourself and about the program a little bit.
Okay, thanks Dave. Well, thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to the cool information that you'll be providing veterans through this podcast. So well done, it's pretty cool. I'm a nurse, I'm the program manager for the post 9/11 Military to VA case management team. And there's a team of 3 of us, and we all work well together. I've been at the VA about 18 years now, and really thrilled to be part of this program.
Wonderful. So what does your program focus on?
Post 9/11 Military to VA programs focus on this, what they call a seamless transition for service members starting their VA healthcare. Okay. And I look at it as we're your point of contact. We're your connection to the VA. We want to help you get your health care going. We want to help you work out any problems or issues that you might have, and we offer support, information, and resources.
Wonderful. So a veteran is leaving active duty, right? You work with Guard, Reserve, and active duty. So if somebody is leaving active duty, how do they get in touch with you?
So there's several different ways to get in touch with us. Quite often, they're moving back to the area, and they might be reaching out to the hospital to sign up for VA healthcare. There might be a liaison or some different folks helping with that transition. There's just many different ways that they could reach out. But you can look up military to VA programs at any VA hospital, because every hospital around the United States has an M2VA team, and you can start that process that way just by catching up with us and calling us. Okay,
so veterans have to be enrolled to use the service. So one of the best pieces of advice that I like to give to veterans is, reach out to the eligibility team.
There you go.
The eligibility team is also going to be able to help with getting that veteran in contact with us. Either way you go about enrollment doesn't matter to us, right? But we need you to reach out to enrollment. We want you to reach out to us. So what do you think is the most common barrier the veterans have with using the VA?
I can only pick one. Is there the most common one? It seems like there's several. I think sometimes they've been told certain things in the military, and a veteran might think, or service member becoming a veteran might think that they have plenty of time to just sign up for VA health care. And then it just kind of falls by the wayside, and they never sign up, and there's a delay in care.
You bring up a real good point. I think it's great. The sooner you enroll, the better. And the reason is there's timelines sometimes. Not every veteran situation is the same. Not every eligibility is the same for everybody. So the sooner you get enrolled, the better. And the other thing it's worth noting is once you're enrolled and once you're eligible for VA healthcare, you don't lose that.
Right.
So if you enroll today and decide not to use your healthcare for 15 years, you're going to be eligible in 15 years. If you wait for 15 years, you may not be eligible for that healthcare. So
very good point.
What do you think is the most important thing that a veteran can do for themselves today for their health care?
I would think the most important thing a veteran can do today for their health care would be to make sure you have a provider. Whether it's us or anywhere, using your TRICARE or out in the community. But just even if you're 23 and you're super healthy and doing great, I still think making contact with that provider, being on their panel, and at least being seen one time just to start that process, just to get into the system somewhere. Okay. But I obviously really feel like VA healthcare is going to be more familiar with veterans and some of their experiences and some of their issues, and so obviously we very much promote VA healthcare. But for most folks, I would just say get a provider and make sure that someone sees you.
Okay. What do you think a veteran should do before their first appointment? How can they prepare for their first appointment with the VA healthcare provider?
So if you have gotten your appointment, but maybe we haven't gotten your DD-214, you might bring that with you to the appointment. You might bring a list of your questions, a list of your medications. You might kind of think about your different healthcare issues, and if there's something like the number one need that you have that you want to talk to that provider about, kind of have that in mind as well. Have an open mind, because that provider then will go through and make referrals for whatever other services you need, whether it's mental health or chiropractics or whole health or all kinds of things. So just know that's the gateway then to your total health.
Awesome. So we know that kind of the signature injuries of this conflict is TBIs and PTSD. So can you tell me what issues are you seeing commonly other than TBI and PTSD in our OEF and OAF veterans?
I think we see a lot of veterans take advantage of mental health services.
Okay.
And that support that's offered there, the support and treatment, whether, I know our mental health services have a lot of really cool programs that will help with sleep disorders, anxiety, depression. We see a lot of that in our population.
Right.
That's probably the biggest ones.
Okay.
What do you think are the biggest ones that we're seeing in our population?
I think I have to agree. I think mental health, and there's such a stigma still to somebody reaching out and getting the help.
Yep.
We're starting to see changes with that with the Guard and Reserve units with putting mental health providers into those units, but it still is such a hard barrier to break down and to get through. And so my challenge is always, don't let somebody else's trauma be your trauma. Mm-hmm. Your trauma is your own. And if you need help, get the help you need. So,
and I think the fact that you're at the VA, you'll be talking to providers who talk to veterans every day. And I think that's really important too.
Yeah,
that
I agree.
They're going to have some idea of what's going on. And then there's all kinds of really great veterans groups that, whether you want individual treatment or group treatment, they offer a lot of different programming.
So if there was one thing that you could tell to a veteran right now that says, I'll just deal with it later, what's your response to that?
So I've heard that a lot, even on the golf course and stuff. That's what I'm told. I think a couple things. I think it's easy just to reach out and just get set up like when nothing's going on. You're feeling great. You're young. Your health is wonderful. Best thing I can tell you to do is just to go ahead and get set up with a provider. It's just easy, and you're in the system. And I think everyone, you have so many competing priorities from what I hear, because I'm not a veteran, but what I hear when you're coming out with your family and your job and education and just all the things you're trying to get just things back, get your ducks back in a row. And I think healthcare can easily get put on the back burner. But this is, our team is here to make this simple for veterans. Help us, or we can help you get in the system, get a provider. That might just be a once-a-year visit, and that's it. If you have other further healthcare needs, then they will deal with that as well. But I just think that idea of keeping it waiting to get started is just it's just going to delay your care.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think it's important for everybody to understand that healthcare is a benefit, and it may not be the best option for all veterans, mm-hmm. But it's a great benefit and option to a lot of veterans. And so when I hear somebody tell me they want to deal with it later, what's the holdup? I mean, especially if I've got somebody sitting in my office already, right? You're already here. Let's take the next step, because truly, it changes so frequently. The eligibility changes very, very frequently. So the sooner we get you in the system, the sooner we get you eligible, then as things pop up later, this is one less thing you need to worry about right now. So.
How many times have you been somewhere and you talked to someone about getting into VA and you've just pulled your cell phone out, handed the phone to them, and they talk to the health eligibility center?
A bunch. It happens. It's amazing. All the time.
It's really easy.
So one of the nice things that our team also does is outreach. Mm-hmm. We're heavily involved in the community. I do the outreach for the team, and so more times than not, when I'm out and about in the community and I'm talking to somebody, I do exactly that. I've got the number saved on my phone, and I just hand my phone to somebody, mm-hmm. and
it's pretty cool.
The feedback is usually, I had no idea it was that easy. Mm-hmm. So we try to make it as easy as possible for the veterans to enroll in healthcare and to earn that or get that benefit that they earn that they deserve.
I think that's the thing about our team is we are really here to help veterans.
Yes.
That's why my job is so great. It's just wonderful because you got to figure a healthcare system, or the DoD has put these teams in place at every site across the United States, and there's teams everywhere, and that's what they do, is they work with transitioning veterans, service
Right.
members to veterans, and those teams are there for that purpose, and
Right.
that's just fantastic. So this idea of streamlining, it sounds great, but really what we're there to do, seamless, we're there just to make it easier and help you make that connection, help you get into healthcare. And then if there's other issues after that, education, we got a wonderful social worker. She does all that great stuff. We can offer case management, that idea of information, support, and resources. So you have more than just stepping through the door, getting a provider. There's so much more there, and it's very individualized and tailored to what veterans need. And I think that's the great thing about this program.
I agree. It's a wonderful program.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that kind of concludes our very first episode of
Yes.
Vet Talk. So I thank you for your time. Thanks for coming over here. Thanks for bearing with me through this process of getting our podcast going.